Hello everyone, and welcome to our watercolor techniques video here on Patreon. And this lesson is all about the tertiary colors that are mixed with our complementary colors. So in the previous lesson, we made our color wheel with the warm and cool yellows, reds, and blues. Then those are the primary colors, the split primary, because each primary is split into warm and cool. Then we mixed our secondary colors, which is a mix of two primaries to make a secondary, which is orange, violet, and green. And then we mixed the tertiary colors, which are a mix of a primary and a secondary. So warm yellow and orange make yellow-orange, warm red and orange make red-orange, and all the way around the color wheel. So we've already done this work. So now you'll see that I've drawn some lines down the center of my primaries, and I've split them in two. And then I've split them up into 5 spaces, and then in the center I have this sort of cube kind of thing, which is going to be a mix of all of those primary colors, which will give us black. Okay, so I call these colors that come down the center complementary tertiaries, because really they're still a mix of a secondary and a primary, so they're still a tertiary, okay, but they come off of the primary color and they're mixed with their opposite, their complementary color. So the complementary color of yellow is violet, the complementary color of red is green, and the complementary color of blue is orange. It's whatever resides directly across the color wheel, okay? So what these complementary tertiaries do is they give us this beautiful range of neutrals. Beautiful, beautiful colors that we can mix with our warm and cool yellow and our violet, okay? So we're gonna start with the warm, actually we'll start with the cool yellow. And I have my palette here with my, I'm gonna move it over a little bit, so I'm hoping you can see the whole thing. And we're gonna start with cool yellow, and I'm gonna get a nice big juicy puddle of it on my palette. Okay, so lots of cool yellow. And then over to the side, I'm going to mix up my violet. And remember, for the clearest, cleanest violet, we're going to use cool red and warm blue. So I'm going to take a little bit of cool red over here. And I'm going to mix equal amounts of warm blue into it. So I get a violet. There's my violet. Okay, I'm going to rinse my brush. And we're going to start with yellow. We're going to fill in this first square here. So what that means is with a somewhat dry brush, I'm going to pick up a tiny bit of my violet, okay, and mix it into the cool yellow. And then I'm going to paint the resulting color in this little square here. So what you'll notice is it's just a little bit more of a muted version of my cool yellow. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit more violet and mix it in. And now I get a beautiful glowing yellow ochre color. Okay? So I'm going to pick up a little more violet, another brush full of violet, and mix it in. And now it's something like a raw sienna. Okay? Pick up a little bit more, mix it in. Okay? And then I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that and mix it into my resulting violet over here. And I see I just don't have quite enough, so I'm going to add a little bit more of my blue and a little bit more of my cool red. And that's my fault. I should have mixed more. And I paint the resulting color in here, which is sort of a burnt umber color. Okay, so you can see all of these glowing neutrals, these earth tones that I get from mixing my cool yellow with its complementary color, which is violet. And now I'm going to do it again, but with warm yellow. So I'm going to wipe my palette off, just get a little water on a paper towel. And I'm going to do the same thing, but with warm yellow. So I'll start with a nice juicy puddle of warm yellow. And then I'll mix the violet again. So I've got cool red. And then warm blue. Whoop. Till I have violet. All right. And then we'll do the same thing over here. So I'll start with a little bit of the violet mixed into the warm yellow. And it's going to neutralize that warm yellow just a little bit. Then I'll pick up a little bit more, mix it in. Pick up a little bit more, mix it in. And you'll notice that I'm getting a little bit darker colors because the warm yellow is darker than the cool yellow. Pick up a little bit more, mix it in. I'm getting these gorgeous browns. And then pick up some of the brown, mix it in. And I'm going to add, I'm going to add a little bit more of the warm blue and a little bit more of the cool red, because I want to get the darkest sort of value, which is sort of a sepia tone. So look at all of these gorgeous glowing yellow ochres, siennas, and umbers that I can create with just my split primary yellows and violet. Okay, so normally these are colors that we have to buy. You know, we have to buy raw sienna and yellow ochre and burnt sienna and raw umber and burnt umber, all of those things. But we can mix them. Sorry, I moved. We can mix them with our split primary palette. Okay, so those are the yellows. Now, one thing I will mention is that this is but one violet. Okay, we can also do the same exercise by mixing other violets. So cool red and cool blue, or warm blue and warm red. We can make all different kinds of these, and every single one will be different. So I recommend that you try this on a separate sheet of paper with other mixes of violet. So if you mix a warm red and a cool blue together, you're going to get a very different color, and it's going to make very different colors of ochres and siennas and umbers. Okay? So now let's move to our red and green, and I'm going to start with my warm red. So, nice big puddle of warm red. And then I'm going to mix the green with my cool yellow and my cool blue. So get my cool yellow, nice big puddle, and then a little touch of cool blue, because remember, it's a strong color, until I get a nice vibrant green. There we go. Take a tiny bit of that, a little bit of that green, mix it in to my warm red. Swatch it right here. And I get sort of a muted brick color. Pick up a little bit more, mix it in. Gorgeous burnt sienna. A little bit more green, mix it in. Sort of a chestnutty brown. Do you see how different these are than the ones we achieved with the yellows? They're still neutrals, they're still our earth tones, but they're very different. And so when we have a record of all of these different colors that we can make, and we need to find a specific kind of brown or earth tone, we can look at this chart and we can know where to begin. And then our final one, which is darker, like a really dark chocolatey brown. Okay, these look very different than these. So now we're going to do it again with our cool red. So same thing. Pick up some of my cool red, make a nice big juicy puddle on my palette, and then mix up more of my green with cool yellow, and cool blue. Take a bit of the green, mix it into the cool red, a little bit more. And it's just going to mute that cool red out just a little bit. What a gorgeous color, right? It's like a raspberry. It's beautiful. Add a little bit more green. And then I get like a mauvey purple. Add a little bit more green. And I get a burgundy ochre. Okay, add a little bit more green. I get this deep, rich plummy brown. And then mix this in. Actually, we'll make a little bit more cool blue. Sometimes you need to mix a little bit more because I want you to get the darkest possible color. So if I mix more of the green and then mix it into here. Beautiful, beautiful, dark, rich, plummy brown. Okay? So already, look at the wide variety of neutrals and earth tones that we have here. So now I'm going to wipe my plate off again. And we'll do the final one, which is our blues and orange. So we'll start with our warm blue. Nice big puddle of our primary warm blue. And then we're going to mix orange, which is our warm yellow, and our warm red. So make a little puddle of warm yellow and equal amounts of warm red. Gives us a nice vibrant orange. Take a little bit of that orange, mix it into our blue. It's a little bit too much, sorry guys. And that's okay, because that's going to happen, and just by seeing me do it, you'll know that you can just pick up more blue and put it in. I'm running out of warm blue. I should have refilled that. There we go. So the first color we're going to get by adding a little bit of orange is sort of a Payne's gray. Really helpful to know. Okay, Payne's gray is a wonderful color to use, but it's usually made with black, and so it's not very transparent, and it tends to get muddy really easily. But we can make a Payne's gray by using our warm blue and our split primary orange. Okay, add a little bit more orange, and we get a really deep, rich gray. Okay, add a little bit more orange, and it starts to turn brown, a really, really rich sepia. Add a little bit more brown, okay? Add them all together, and we get a cooler brown. It's sort of a, I don't know, it's like a lighter sepia, like a gray brown. So these are many, many colors that you can mix by using blue, or primary blue, and a mix between warm yellow and warm red. Okay? And so one last time, we're going to do this with our cool blue. So make a puddle of cool blue. And then we'll mix up some orange. Warm yellow. And warm red. Tiny touch of that into the cool blue. Mutes it out a little bit and gives you a tiny bit of a more teal. See how it's a little bit more teal? Add a little bit more of the orange mix. We get a beautiful peacock green. Add a little bit more. We get a gorgeous deep olive. Add a little bit more. Even deeper still, like an olive brown. And I'm going to make a little bit more of my orange here. Add it in. And I get this gorgeous, deep, foresty green brown. Okay? So I want you to just look at that, the wide variety of very subtle, muted shades that we can get. I'm sorry, my camera keeps flipping on me. I think you guys can see everything. Deep, muted, rich, soft, subtle colors that we can mix with these very vibrant shades. This is super important to learn, okay? Now, let me just wipe this palette off one more time. Getting overdone. Sometimes having a bigger plate is helpful, but this will work. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to fill in the center by mixing a little bit of each color. So I'm going to start with my cool yellow. Add some of the warm yellow. Add some of the warm red. Add some of my cool red. Add some of my warm blue. Add some of the cool blue. Probably too much. Add more warm yellow. Add more warm red. And add a little more warm blue. So just keep going around. And then what happens is when we mix all of our primary colors, we get really beautiful blacks. Okay, that can be diluted then to make all different kinds of grays. So here is an example of this black. Okay, but if I wanted to make it a little bit warmer, I could add a touch of warm yellow to it and get a little bit warmer black. If I wanted to make it cooler, I could add a touch of cool blue and make it a cooler black. It's very, very useful. And these blacks are glowing and prismatic. They are full of every color in the rainbow, and it makes a difference in our paintings. They will never look flat and dull when we mix our own blacks from the split primary colors. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to get your color chart out, and I want you to make these grid lines, and I want you to mix up your complementary tertiaries with your both warm and cool yellow, red, and blue using the complementary colors. Then practice mixing some blacks and mix all different kinds of prismatic blacks, warmer, cooler, more green, more violet, more red, to see how many different kinds of glowing blacks you can get, these deep, dark, rich colors that we often need in watercolor, but we don't want them to look flat, okay? So these are the complementary tertiaries. It's a really, really important thing to learn, and it will become very intuitive for you the more you practice them. Again, we were using the clearest, cleanest mix here, all right? So I'm going to show you one more thing. Let me just wipe my palette off. So let's say, whoops. I'm just going to give myself a little bit of clean space. I got to wash this plate today. It's been overworked. So let's go back to our violet. So we'll make a violet. But we're going to make it with cool blue this time instead of warm blue. So that is a violet made with cool blue and cool red instead of our one that we did with cool red and warm blue. And then we're going to take, let me just clean off my yellow here. And we're going to add warm yellow in increments. I'm sorry, we're going to, everything's so dirty. Sorry guys, I am just not batting 1,000 today. Okay, our warm yellow. Add a touch of this new kind of violet to this, and it's very different, okay? It's a very sort of kind of muted mustard color. Add a little more violet to it. It immediately turns into sort of this deep raw umber, okay? Add a little more violet to it. It's sort of a greenish brown. Add a little more violet to it. Okay, taupey. So these are very, very different, right, than the colors that we got when we used our cleanest, clearest mix, all right, of violet. These are dustier, more muted colors. These matter too. So I want you to experiment with all of these combinations. If you have any questions, just ask me, okay? And I'll help you out. But these are so important to learn, and you will love them. And you're going to be able to mix any color you could possibly ever imagine, but you have to know where to start. So by making these test swatches, and what I could do is on this page, I could just note that this is warm yellow, plus cool red, and these are not, my colors are not clean anymore, but yours will be, plus cool blue. And so these are your, so these two make your violet, and this one is your yellow. So you're gonna make violet with these two, and then you're going to add it into this warm yellow, and you're going to get these colors. And then you can do another one with warm yellow. You could make another violet. You could do one with warm red and cool blue. Tricky to make violet with this. It's going to go instantly into this deep, deep color, but that's okay. Okay, so there's your warm red and cool blue. Mixed with warm yellow. Plus warm yellow. All right? So if we started with warm yellow, over here, and added a touch of this new violet, right? It's a violet, it's red and blue, it's just really deep. And then these are going to be the colors that I get with that, which are going to also be very different. You're going to get all sorts of beautiful greens in every color you can imagine of deep, rich, muted greens. Okay? So these are examples of what we can do when we start mixing 3 colors together in different varieties and different combinations. Really, really important to learn. Okay, so that is your homework until the next watercolor techniques video. I want you to experiment making complementary tertiaries, all across the color wheel, all across your split primaries. Think of every possible combination and make yourself pages of these charts. Also practice making your prismatic blacks. Okay, I hope this is helpful. It is a lot to learn because you're doing so many different varieties of in different combinations of these 6 colors. And yet, once you do it and you have this record in your sketchbook, you can go back and you can say, okay, here's this, I want to paint this, so where do I start? You know, and you're looking and you're saying, nope, that's not quite right. So I can go back to my color wheel and I can hold it up and I say, ooh, that is perfect. All right, so I know that this was a mix of warm yellow plus warm blue and cool red. All right, so that is where it's helpful. Okay, to make these color charts, it is a great place for us to start and say, where can I find this color? You know, it's right here. So I know that that is a mix of warm red and cool blue plus warm yellow. I know where to start. It's a really handy thing to have. So fill up your sketchbooks with these color charts, okay? If you have any questions, please ask me. I hope you'll have a great weekend. We have a busy weekend here. We're getting ready for my daughter's baby shower next weekend, so we've got a lot of tidying and just preparations to do. It's going to be fun. But I will see you next week with more videos. I'll be checking in to answer your questions, and I hope you'll have a wonderful weekend wherever you are and whatever you're doing. All right, thanks so much for being here. Have a great day. Bye-bye.